Welcome to the night section. So guys, I really wanted to make a video on this subject as it really baffled me to see people's reaction from Lil Nas X's recent music video for Montero. Now, if you're new to this channel, I essentially do hip hop, pop, and overall music and music industry analysis. And I try to shed light on certain things that the average consumer and artist may not be privy to. I don't claim to be an expert by any means, but I do my best to give researched answers and compile them with my own findings as well as my own experiences. But I try to be as objective as I can, and today, talking about Lil Nas X, I will leave the comment section open for a conversation. But please, let's make this productive. Now, I know ever since the early beginnings of what we can call the social media age, there's been rumors circulating about the shadiness of the music industry and their entire plan to basically promote certain ideals. And I'll try to keep this as PC as possible, but I assume you guys are understanding of what I may be referring to. Essentially, that there is an agenda being pushed down people's throats. There have been countless videos made in the early YouTube years about symbolism and performances, countless interviews about people recounting their experiences with industry execs or claiming they're privy to what actually happens behind the scenes, and so on and so on. Now, of course, with this new Lil Nas X video, people have been super vocal about their feelings about this video, which has again flared up the accusations of there being a hidden agenda. I obviously can't show you guys the video, but I will explain to you guys the premise of the video in terms of the visuals. So in the opening scene of the video, we can see him in what we can assume is the Garden of Eden, strumming a guitar under the Tree of Knowledge, obviously having biblical references to the Old Testament, with a snake-like creature wrapped around a tree, which presumably symbolizes the devil and where he runs away after noticing the snake-like creature there. But by the end of that scene, we see Lil Nas X accepting his fate and embracing the snake-like creature. By the second scene, we see him in what seems like a future-esque depiction of the Roman times, at a Colosseum where it looks like he's being tried for his crimes, with chains wrapped around his wrists and a crowd raging to see his inevitable demise. He eventually dies as a stone is thrown at his head. In the third scene, as we see him ascend into heaven, a rod appears and he seemingly pulls himself down into the pits of hell, while obviously sliding down the pole as if it were a stripper's pole. This leads to the climax of this story, the last and final scene where we see him entering the kingdom of hell, confronting the devil himself by seducing the devil, and by the end of that scene, we see Lil Nas X snap the devil's neck and take the horns to assumingly crown himself as king. As expected, a lot of people were very upset by this video, more particularly Christians and conspiracy theorists who had an absolute field day with this one. And let me say that there is no agenda with this particular video, and hear me clearly, I'm not saying there isn't an agenda. There's an agenda with literally everything in life, especially in corporate America. And this might not be something you guys want to hear, but let me challenge your thought. First of all, I think it's rather easy to cast judgment on anything without using a critical eye or trying to understand. It seems as though people's gut reaction whenever they see a depiction of anything related to the Bible or God and the devil, which may not be their idea in their head, they lose their minds. But if you really take the time to see where Lil Nas X is coming from a creative aspect and wanting to tell a story, it's a video that is actually pretty genius. So if you guys don't know already, Lil Nas X is a gay rapper who actually came out in 2019. Obviously, we know that in the black community and hip hop community, being gay is generally frowned upon. And more often than not, the Bible has been used to weaponize against gay people. When it comes to the LGBT community, everyone seems to become a born-again Christian, as well as a saint, and suddenly knows exactly what God wants for his children. And on multiple occasions from people that I know, as well as Lil Nas X, it has been some people who call themselves Christian who've made people from the community feel like they're less than human and casting judgment onto them by letting them know that they're destined for eternal ruining, aka burning in hell. It's actually insane that some people use the Bible only when it benefits them or when it feeds into their superiority complex. But nonetheless, this video isn't about these certain Christians. The point here is that in this Montero video, Lil Nas X is taking back his power, so to speak. As black people have reclaimed the N-word, he reclaimed hell, the place that many people have tried to use against him. Basically letting everyone know that, hey, I'm not going to let you use hell against me no longer. I actually want to go there. The story that he's telling in this video, at least from my interpretation, starting from the opening line, quote, "In life we hide the parts of ourselves we don't want the world to see. We lock them away, we tell them no, we banish them, but here we don't." Is that even though some people might shame you for who you are, it's okay to be yourself and own your shadow self. Own the dark parts of your personality, own your imperfections, own what people may hate about you. And I wish people would really look into what everything symbolizes rather than take everything for face value. Because it isn't as simple as Lil Nas X just grinding on the devil. I mean, that's the comprehension level of most kindergartners. He was telling a story, first in the Garden of Eden or Montero, where everything began. He runs away from the devil or his quote-unquote demons or him quote-unquote being gay, but by the end, accepts it and actually embraces it. And by the second scene, where people are judging him casting stones, wink wink, they actually kill him. But by the third scene, he still ends up going to heaven and we see an angel-like figure waiting for him in the sky. But he then chooses, in spite of that, to still be himself, which meant dragging himself down to hell, where he confronts this quote-unquote evil or devil that the world fears and conquers it. Ironically, like the Bible, the story he is telling is not meant to be taken literally, and this is not anything new either. Historically, many artists have used biblical stories or made biblical references or even played with morality in general, either in their lyrics or videos to tell a story. An example is Eminem with his song My Darling, where he's literally having a conversation with his alter ego, demon, devil, or his shadow self, depending on how you interpret the art. Basically the battle between good versus evil. Or even when Biggie was Suicidal Thoughts with one of his most famous bars, quote, "When I die, F it, I wanna go to hell. Cause I'm a piece of ish, it ain't hard to effing tell. It don't make sense going to heaven with the goody goodies. Dressed in white, I like black Timbs and black hoodies," end quote. And obviously this is not as extreme or in your face as Lil Nas X visuals, but definitely still making biblical references or dealing with themes heavily related to Christianity. Not to mention, this happens across all genres. Have you guys ever heard of Lady Gaga, Madonna, the Rolling Stones? Nonetheless, we understood these examples as being a form of artistic expression. And don't artists have an artistic license to push boundaries? Great art isn't supposed to be comfortable. Great art isn't meant to be censored. So respectfully, let's stop calling everything an agenda just because it makes you uncomfortable and challenges your beliefs or belief system. The real agenda, by the way, is to keep the working class and have us mad at each other for petty things like being gay and keep us distracted so the bourgeoisie keep getting richer. It's called divide and conquer for a reason, but that's a conversation for another day. Anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe and engage about anything you like throughout this video. As well, please leave a like and hit the bell notification if you do want to see more. Night Section out.